This is the last video for Taurus, and I left off with the hair, so we're going to continue with the hair. And I'm using a darker shade of green. It's like a greeny blue, since her hair is very obviously green and I want it to be a bit darker than it currently is. So I'm mixing and matching between like a aquamarine type color, like a very dark aquamarine, and a bit more of a greenish, a bit more of a bluish colors for the shading and for the lighting, just to try and make it, because her hair is very dark, the light shows up a lot. So I'm trying to figure out just how bright does my brush have to be for this to work. And for the ribbons, at first the problem was figuring out what color the ribbons were going to be, and now it is what's the color for the shading that's supposed to be. I went for a bit more of a reddish color instead of a purplish color like everything else. And the ribbon, I actually wanted to look like they were reflecting light a bit better. I made a last minute decision to give her freckles, to somewhat emulate the patchy pattern of some cows. So I thought, okay, I'm just gonna give her freckles because I can, and I think she would suit them. So freckles, and also her shoulders are out, and shoulders generally gets freckly as well, so I was like, freckles. Now I'm trying to make the eyes look a bit more like they're glowing. I did this with Aries as well, where I went back in and changed the line art a bit to look more, for Aries, yellow, for her pink, because her eyes are glowing pink. And I think I might have had my brush a bit thick during the line art process, so I'm going back in and changing some of the line art that's not fitting in quite right, and making them more lighter if they're closer to the light, and a bit and giving them a different hue if they're further away. Trying to smoke effects aren't always easy. They generally aren't easy, so I think it's not too bad actually. And I'm giving the Taurus sign a outer rim, or like a depth, I guess. And I decided to play around with some layer options and trying out different colors, and then changing the layer type. So I started off with overlay, and I think I continued with overlay as well. So I have 2 layers of overlay, and then I have, for the eyes specifically, I have another overlay layer for the glow. And then I've gone back into like the hair layers and stuff like that to add a bit more of a pinkish hue, because the eyes would be casting some pink on the hair. I tried doing another layer for just everything, another like overlay layer for everything, to make it look a bit more impressive, I guess, a bit more impressive, because before this it kind of looked it just looked a bit dull. It looked dull, that's what it was. But once it was on top of everything, it looked a bit too much. And I'm doing something similar with the smoke effects, where some of it has a different layer effect and some of it doesn't. Added some I added some glow to the stars in the background, as well as gave it a slight blur effect. And yeah, going back in and decided to change the color of most of the line art instead of just some bits. And now I'm going in with some adjustment layers. So brightness and contrast is generally one that's always there. And for her, I'm also doing some saturation layers, because after a point she started looking very ba-boom, very like a lot. She started looking like quite intense, so I decided to like tone it down for some areas and not so much for others. And I believe, I'm not sure which layer it is, but one of the layers caused her hair to lose a bit of texture, so that layer ended up like having some of it being taken out to, you know, I want the hair to still have texture. It looks more like how I wanted it to look, with like green with black with like a green undertone to it, which is what I wanted. But I also wanted the shaded area to have a bit of texture to it, so added that back in. And in the background, I believe I'm trying to get the color of the sky in the background a bit better. And yeah, or I might have been messing about with the way the light's moving from the actual symbol. But yes, that is yeah. This is Taurus. I've been speaking quickly. Okay. See you later. Have a wonderful day, and goodbye.